Crucial Conversations, book by Carrie Patterson, Joseph Grenny, Ron McMillan, and Al Switzler. How to have a successful conversation when tensions are high. At first glance, you might assume that this book is for high-powered CEOs or people who are often in a position to negotiate high-stakes trade deals. But the reality is that this book is for everybody. In fact, the high-stakes conversations you have with your friends or family can be even more important than the tense discussions you have in the boardroom. Crucial Conversations, 2001, was written for anyone who talks to people often, whether that's in a personal or professional capacity. Introduction. Have you ever felt that a conversation is like a minefield? You thought you were just having a calm, rational discussion, and then, boom, one wrong word, and the whole discussion appears to blow up in your face. You might not even know what you've done wrong. Miscommunications can cause massive issues in your personal and professional life, so it's no surprise that many people are terrified of conversations gone bad. But don't worry, because over the course of this summary, we're going to learn some top tips for having successful conversations when tensions are high. Chapter 1. Listening to your gut may not be the right answer. Everybody has gut instincts. It's that feeling that stems from deep within our own hearts. It's primal and instinctive, and it often governs our initial responses to stimuli. And in many cases, that gut feeling is portrayed as being true and right. Detective shows, for example, often heavily imply that we should follow our first instincts and go with what our gut tells us. And if your gut is telling you that someone is a dangerous predator, then you should definitely follow that instinct and report them to the police. But outside the context of law and order, SVU, the author observes that our gut can often be wrong, and even more importantly, it can get us into big trouble. That's because we often lead with our gut when we encounter stressful or upsetting situations. For example, let's consider my daily trip to Dunkin' Donuts. I go to my local Dunkin' Donuts every single day, and every single day, I wait in line for an average of 30 minutes. This is entirely due to poor management, and it has nothing to do with the amount of cars that are in the line. Whether there are 2 cars or 20, we're all stuck waiting for at least 30 minutes every time. And to top it all off, my coffee is usually incorrectly made. Now, if you waited 30 minutes to get a coffee that wasn't what you ordered, you'd probably be pretty frustrated too. You'd probably want to snap at the employee behind the counter and give them a piece of your mind, and you might feel pretty justified in doing so. That's your gut instinct talking. Your gut instinct says that you're upset, and you have the right to tell the world about it. But the author observes that acting on that gut instinct is actually counterproductive. To understand why, let's consider a different version of this scenario. Imagine that you really did yell at that Dunkin' Donuts employee. Maybe you called them stupid and told them they were doing a terrible job and demanded a refund and a free coffee. Is that an understandable response, given your frustration? Sure. But is it the right response? Not really. For starters, that response isn't kind, and it isn't treating other people the way you would want to be treated. But even if you don't care about being compassionate towards others, that response is also unhelpful because it's counterproductive. After all, if you yell at someone and call them stupid, they probably won't like you very much. And they certainly won't be motivated to help you get what you want. In fact, they might even feel so resentful that they might spit in your drink or make your coffee incorrectly again to pay you back for being rude to them. Once you trigger that kind of response in another person, it doesn't matter if you're in the right or not. The author observes that once you foster that animosity, you've already lost the battle. And this remains true whether you're dealing with a botched coffee order or a romantic mishap. So, what can you do instead? One great step is to identify your real goal by using self-observation. Self-observation is basically just a fancy term for self-awareness. It involves taking a step back and detaching yourself from the emotions of the situation so that you can calm down and think about what to do next. Ask yourself what you're really feeling and what you really want out of the situation. Then calmly identify the steps you can take to make that desirable outcome happen. In the hypothetical scenario about the coffee, your desired outcome is probably to receive the drink that you actually ordered, and for it to be made correctly. So, even if it doesn't match your emotional state, the correct response in that situation is to calmly and politely inform the employee of their mistake and ask for your drink to be remade. This is more likely to result in your desired outcome because most people are receptive to polite requests to fix something. As much as you might feel like berating them, remember that doing so is counterproductive. And that's why our first lesson in conflict resolution is to avoid counterproductive responses and always seek the most mutually beneficial solution.